Alright, guys, it really seems like this is it now. With Israel declaring war, I want to read you guys this letter, okay? This is a letter that Albert Pike, who was a 33rd degree Freemason, he wrote this letter August 15th, 1871, and it's called The Illuminati Plan for Three World Wars. The following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to Giuseppe Mazzini, who was another 33rd degree Freemason, in 1871 regarding a conspiracy involving three world wars that were planned in an attempt to take over the world. The Pike letter to Giuseppe was on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977. This letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, which denies the letter exists. Of course they're going to deny it exists because this was a letter written in 1871, way before even the First World War even. And I'm going to skip what he wrote about the First and Second World War because you can read it yourself right here. Pretty much described in absolute specific detail how both of those wars unfolded and what was to come next after those wars. So this is a stage that they've been building, and according to this letter, World War III is going to start in the Middle East between Israel and the Islamic world. So let me just read this real quick. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists, I don't know how to say that, and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, supposedly, this is Albert Pike we're talking about here, 33rd degree Mason, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction. The lukewarm Christians, the ones who are not truly walking in truth and faith, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. So this is detailing right here how they're going to bring in pretty much the Third World War, which is going to be the tribulation, the great tribulation on this nation, those final 7 years, not just the nation, the whole world. So it's Satan obviously working through these Freemasons and his demons and his little minions he's got running around controlling the world. So I mean, this very well is looking like it's going to be the start of World War III. We already got things brewing with Ukraine and Russia and NATO and America literally supplying so much money and arms and ammunition to that country, just like poking Russia for a year straight now, going on 2 years, just poking at Russia, provoking them more and more. There's been like drone attacks on Moscow and at the Kremlin multiple times. So it's like we're just trying to start stuff now, and this whole Israel-Hamas terrorist attack where 1,200 Israelis have died and 1,000 Palestinians in Gaza as of now are dead from the airstrikes, and they're planning to looks like invade and completely just destroy Gaza, which is going to obviously really, really upset the rest of the Arab nations. And we already know how this is going to go down. It's in the Bible, in the book of Revelations. the Islamic world, they're all going to unite and they're all going to close in, including Gog, Magog, Russia. They're all going to come together, come against Israel, and they're going to close in on Israel, and it's going to look like Israel is about to be completely destroyed and annihilated. And right at the final second, God is going to supernaturally put his hand and protect his people, protect Israel. And right before they get completely destroyed, he's going to turn it around. So now we know the government of Israel is corrupt, but we're talking, this goes deeper than a surface worldly level of like government and whatnot. This is a spiritual thing here. And God is going to supernaturally protect Israel. But all those people in the parades in Tel Aviv, the alphabet community, that's not of God. So, and then the government murdering people, pretty much enslaving the Palestinians, that's not of God either. But you have to also remember that anyone who's following religion, false religion, they're going to come under a curse. When you choose to follow religion and believe that, you're coming into agreement with a curse, and you're cursing yourself. So these Arab nations, these Muslims, they don't know it, and every other religion for that matter, they are accursed. And so it's going to bring destruction upon themselves when they're coming in agreement and alliance with the devil. That's what they're doing by turning away from the true, real truth of God, Jesus Christ, the one and only way. So with that being said, I'm going to show you guys some clips here I've been saving up, putting together as I've been doing lately. Thank you all for following and being subscribed. I don't know if people are just subscribing in masses or what, but it's like every day I'm losing 20, 30, 40 subscribers. And people have told me that YouTube has unsubscribed them from my channel, and they've like came back and searched for me, and they found that they've been unsubscribed. So turn on the bell for notifications, or just always check in, because YouTube may just unsubscribe you. Thank you all for the support. We are doing well. We are doing great. God has blessed us beyond anything. So I really appreciate all of you. I love you in Jesus' name. We're coming down to it. Oh, one last thing. Hamas has called for a day of jihad this Friday the 13th. Oh, I got chills just saying that. Okay, so this Friday the 13th, Hamas has called for a worldwide day of jihad. And we know what they're about. They're about, in their book, it says to kill anyone who's not going to convert to Islam. Cut their heads off. So, intelligence sources are saying that there's going to be major terrorist attacks in the next 14 months in this country, in U.S. cities. And there's an eclipse, a ring of fire eclipse going across America on October the 14th, a day after Friday the 13th. That this day of jihad is coming. So they very well may be planning false flag attacks. This whole Israel thing going on right now is planned. You're going to tell me the most sophisticated intelligence organization in the world just didn't see this coming? And no, they allowed this. They saw it coming. There's no way you can tell me the most intelligent source organization in the world just missed this. Everyone's asking, how did they not see this coming? How did Israel not see this coming? How did America not see this coming? They did. They're letting it happen. It's all a game, and it's unfolding just as it should, just as God ordained. It's crazy. So, we're also coming up on that 2024 eclipse in April, which will be 7 years exactly from the 2017 eclipse. And when that eclipse happened, I vividly remember that day, that 2017 eclipse. That was like, I was just starting to wake up to the real truth at that moment. So that was like a vivid time for me. I vividly remember that eclipse, and it felt like God was calling me, and he was, because that was right before I met Jesus. A few months later, I met Jesus. So that eclipse in 2017, and then we have this one in 2024. It's exactly 7 years apart. 7. The number of God, 7 years of tribulation. Okay, so if that's not a huge sign, that's just such a huge sign to me. The 7 years apart. And we know that God uses signs in the stars in the heavens. He always has. So we have an eclipse on the 14th. Guys, it's looking like we're coming down, thank God, to the final seconds of this hellhole. Okay, I can't wait to get out of here. And we just got to do our best and walk with God and be soldiers on this earth, because he's testing all of us right now. Like yesterday and every day before, like that time is forever gone. What did you do yesterday with your time that you will never get back again? Because we're all on like a ticking time clock, and we're going to be judged for what we did and didn't do with all of our time. So remember that, and let's get into the rest of this video.
Republicans warning terrorists could be infiltrating America's wide-open border after the horrific attacks in Israel. Over 150 people on the FBI's terror watch list have been arrested crossing into the U.S. so far this year, and that has Kevin McCarthy sounding this alarm.
Just in this year alone, there's 151 from 160 different countries. In my own state, we caught 2 coming from Yemen on the terrorist watch list, from China and others. Why are they coming to America? What do they have planned? And who are they communicating with? President Biden has said previously that he believes the number one threat to America is facing is climate change. The number one threat killing Americans is terrorism.
We never at a time of day we had such a weak administration and such a huge threat to coincide at the same time.
Judge, the other thing that comes to mind is that it's not just that you have people on the terror watch list coming across the border illegally and staying in one place. Now they could be anywhere in the country. And how do you track them?
They can be anywhere, and we're not going to track them because we don't. I mean, we let them in. I think it was in 2021, as you said, 99% of the migrants who came in are staying in the United States. And Israel is the little Satan. We are the great Satan. We are inextricably tied to Israel, and we have allowed Hamas to come into this country along with all kinds of people. 1.5 million getaways. We don't even know who they are.
Right.
We got a problem.
And if they would have even been on the terror watch list, because you don't know. Brian?
It was an opportunity. So he knows he's got a huge problem at the border, not because Greg says so, although he should be listening to you, but because the mayor of New York City, the mayor of Chicago, the governor of Massachusetts, the governor of New York, everyone is telling him, you got a huge problem here. Now this happens.
Somebody, God forbid, could leak through on a border. But it is important to consider the facts about this, at least up until this point.
People from different walks of life pray over these candies. Witchcraft. They pray over the candies. You knock on people's door. You don't know the person that you knock on, know she's a witch. Okay, you don't know she's a witch. She's doing Wicca. She's practicing New Age, and you knock on her door, and you coming in legal rights of this witch or this wall or this person's practicing this stuff, giving you this kind of candy. Mm-hmm. Now you taking that stuff home. You put that stuff into your body, amen. And on top of that, I'm Tom LaVaine said, out of his mouth, you know, he was the ruler of the Church of Satan, right? Out of his mouth, he said, I want to thank every Christian parent for allowing their child to celebrate Halloween one time a year, the devil's holiday. And it took Adam and Eve to lose everything because of one mistake. It took Esau one circumstance to lose his birthrights. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So why would you bring that kind of curse into your house and curse your family from 3 to 4 generations?
They are preparing for World War III. Elementary and high schools in Russia have started doing radiation mask training and active nuclear strike drills this month. Bunkers that were built during the Cold War that have since been abandoned are being reactivated. Construction crews were brought in to prepare them for use, and military personnel were seen outfitting them with weapons and supplies. Emergency response units such as the EMT are training with dogs and gas masks to simulate what they need to do after a nuclear strike. strike, and firefighters are training to decontaminate cars and put out radioactive fires. Loud nuke incoming sirens have been set up in all major population centers and sounded off in drills. Putin has put nuclear forces on maximum readiness, with missiles ready to launch at a moment's notice. He has previously threatened to use nuclear weapons at the start of the Ukrainian war, but never did. However, the country's current emphasis on training their people for nuclear war is a worrying shift.
With everything going on right now in Israel, I searched to see if I could find Hamas in the Bible, and I found this. Genesis 6:11, it says, "Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence." Now keep going with me, pay attention here. Now, when I go to Genesis 6:11 and I look at what those words mean in the original Hebrew, look at the word for violence. Look at this, ready? Hamas. Again, what is Hamas in the Bible? Hamas meaning violence, wrongdoing. So it's just wild that thousands of years ago, when God described violence, and violence has been here ever since the beginning, he described violence with the Hebrew word Hamas. And here we are, Hamas, violence, attacking God's nation, Israel. I'm telling you, friends, we're getting close to the end times. Things are wrapping up. And I think this is just another sign of how close we are to the return of Jesus. So make sure, if you've never called upon the name of Jesus, do it today, because time is running short.
We don't have money, and they haven't deposited to my account. ¿Cuánto te depositaron? El depósito el 7 de enero a 14 de enero, pero no deposita nada. Yeah? So the whole month of January you haven't received anything.
What were they supposed to receive in there?
¿Cuánto es lo que te dan? Es el último pago. ¿Cuánto fue? Cuatro, el dinero, 3,600 pesos. 3,600 pesos was the last payment I received.
And it goes.
I haven't received nothing.
Does that go into your bank account?
¿A dónde va? ¿Tienes una cuenta? ¿Una tarjeta? Sí. ¿Tienes?
Oh, let me see. And how much is anything on that card now at all? Any money?
¿Tiene dinero? No hay dinero. No hay nada. No depositan nada.
In the dream, he predicted 3 world wars. The First World War, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. He says, quote, "The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine." He's now thinking about this Third World War, and it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion.
You get charged in a court because you're a biological battery, and when you get charged you sit in a cell, a battery cell. A bank is a river bank because it directs the currency. Money is water. This is why we use the term liquidity. Your birth certificate is not you, it represents the corporation that you represent. This is why when you die you're called a corpse. Your name in full capital letters is your corporation, not you. You can't tax a physical body, but you can tax a corporation. So yes, you are bought and sold on the New York Stock Exchange. You are nothing but livestock. And a soldier is a soul diet. If you want to stay sleeping, don't bother looking at my page. And if you want to support the channel, join the Patreon.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Truman, what do they want? Listen to me. Everybody knows everything you do. They're pretending, Truman. Do you understand? Everybody's pretending.
Your entire history is an illusion, a fabrication, as it is with all of us. Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's gonna do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom.